Good evening and welcome to my EDUC 5313 online only Intro to Learning Technologies course. It is August 2017. It's the first start of the semester course. While this is part of our new Southeastern MED in curriculum and instruction, this course all students will take, but then I will also have other related courses that are only part of the education technologies option. So in starting, the meat of the course is really in this coursework tab, which is over here. And then as you scroll down, you'll see that I have an overview of the entire course here for the students. This is the module, which also corresponds to the week. They have all their due dates, they have grades. These are all their deliverables. So this is the projects they're going to be giving to me, and this is based on their main text. Also, it is mapped to our ISTE standards, which are the International Society of Technology standards, tech education standards that everybody I know of forever have used, at least the past 20 years that I've been doing this. So that's mapped down. Also, I've included discussion board and peer review participation. They do a lot of peer review, and then there's tests and quizzes, and that's part of their overall grade. Scrolling down, week by week, here is all the content. Now, I used to use different adaptive releases or different formats in Blackboard of how to release the content to the students. And what I found is that they all liked just having one-stop shopping. They didn't want to have to do 2 to 3 to 5 clicks to get to the content they wanted. And that follows, their request follows sound learning theory, especially in technology mitigated environments. And so I added their instructions to how to complete all the or what they need to do for the entire week. Now there's a little bit more in week 1 only because they have extra introductions, they have pre-tests, that sort of thing, which is standard. Those are already created, and those I use on all my courses. It's just kind of a general like doctor's office intake. And then I then have them do a post-test on that as well. Sometimes the textbooks that I use, they'll have a pre-test on their content, and then a post-test on that as well. A Microsoft book I used did that. This textbook does not, so this is my own created, and I've used it for years. So I'm going to cover peer review and partner instructions with them, and that's a one-sheet. Virtual meeting time. So everything they need to know for this week really is here. And then they will be provided a PowerPoint. I need to work through with Pearson how they are okay with me sharing their PowerPoint. So here's their PowerPoint that they will get, and I'll show you what that looks like for Chapter 1. So note down here it says all rights reserved, and all rights means all rights. And so I have been hesitant, and this is the first time I've used this sort of fully enabled e-text with students before. So I don't want to compromise Southeastern's legal integrity by sharing anything I can't. But this is the content. This is the marrow of the bones that they will be getting of that meat. So learning objectives are embedded there. These were all created by sound instructional designers employed by Pearson, and I'm fine with them. I think they are all great. As appropriate or as necessary, I mean, I have not seen a reason yet to have to supplement this, and I am going to be hesitant to do that, especially in the beginning, because I want one-stop shopping for these students. I don't want any disjointed curriculum or resources, etc. I could take them on a lot of different bird walks, but I don't think that is in their best interest, especially with starting off this new, very accelerated program. And we are new to this at Southeastern as well. So they have each one of these titles here, so this technology, that maps onto a subtopic of their book, which I'm going to show you in a minute. We'll go back and forth. But it's a comprehensive, it's 16 slides, and I'm just going to go there quickly. Common Core Standards, and again, all this maps onto their text. And ending in becoming a technology advocate. So they'll have access. There's one of these for each of the chapters. And then they have reading to do, and these are chapters 1 through 2, pages 1 through 30 in their textbooks. And then I break down the chapters here, and I give their objectives and their learning activities. The test quizzes are aligned to this content, and they are provided as well by Pearson from their technology resources. So I have a test bank from Pearson that I will have downloaded or uploaded into our Blackboard, that they have all of the resources for this text. So it's right here. There's a zip file that goes to our Blackboard super administrator, and then he loads them into the back end, and then I get to just select those in Blackboard. See if I can show you that as well as an option for the students. So I'm not creating those from scratch because they've done a fabulous job, and I want this all to be very one-stop shopping and very succinct throughout all of it. So that being said, let me actually start with the clicking. I do that for each week, and it's pretty standard wrap-up time. And this is really an announcements in the discussion boards, any lingering questions or concerns, and then we prepare for week 2. Note that the estimated total time for this week is based on the Carnegie model of 15 to 19 hours. And then we go into week 2 and similar weekly introduction, 20-30 minutes, and that's a video that I'll narrate. Historically, again, and this is both Quality Matters based as well as previous best practices that I've learned, is that it's best to do those weekly videos on a week-by-week basis. And what I typically do is I kind of wrap up the previous key learnings from the week, ground them in current knowledge, and then introduce future weeks, kind of giving them a landscape to ground themselves. And it's worked extremely well so far. So that's what I do there. And I don't mind. And oftentimes, then that's what we follow up with in those synchronous learning sessions, which is generally an hour or 2 a week. And even if the students don't show up, I record them and then they're made available. So here's the course content. The reading is 3 to 5 hours. They have their pages there. So chapters 3 is page 86 and page 124, and then they have the activities. They're going to be preparing an innovation grant. They're going to be doing technology-infused instruction, so they're going to create a mini tech plan. Here they're going to be creating a software acquisition or digital classroom acquisition report. So basically, like we just created a makerspace at Southeastern, they have to decide on some technology equipment that they want to acquire for their workplace, and then create a report of that with a budget and then a presentation. So preparing for learner diversity is key. Building a web resource portfolio. So they're going to build a website, and they'll have resources based on websites that will go in there that they can carry with them, kind of a toolbox, a digital toolbox. Exploring digital learning. And then here's some training and certification options like Google Certified Trainer, Google Certified Learner, etc., etc. And then there are many other activities. Again, this is all based on ISTE standards. This is the 6th edition of that text, and so it's been vetted and verified and highly rigorous, and I completely agree with it. So, and then going to week 6, so there's 10 chapters, I do 2 a week, and that means that we're done after week 5. So the weeks 6 and 7 is when they actually prepare one of the activities they did week 1 through 5 in a academic conference type presentation and pitch. And I've already decided that I want them to submit to a local technology conference like Oklahoma Technology Association's Encyclomedia. So they prepare that, and then we can go up together. It's an optional thing. They can meet me up there and present their paper or poster. We could also, in the future, design kind of a research night at Southeastern, invite everybody in and have them present their research kind of in a poster session at Southeastern, which is another great idea. or at an ed camp, etc. But they're going to prepare those academic presentations, pitches during week 7 based on their previous work. And then they'll actually present them and share them via Zoom or another tool of their choice. They will be invited to do that synchronously or live. If they can't make it, they can also record themselves and then upload it to YouTube and share the video with us. They do their surveys in Blackboard and Google and then post self-assessment, all that kind of wrap-up stuff. And then again, 15 to 19 hours and they're done. So all of that mapping back to their textbook, which just was published last week. It is nothing I've seen before. I just got lucky that they decided to launch it in coordination with my new class. And here's what it looks like. So all the chapters are on the left side. If you've ever read in Kindle or an ebook, it's mapped out very similar, and most of our students have it at this point, especially at a master's level. So chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which correlates back to my Blackboard. If you'll look, I have the hard copy and I mapped the pages, chapters 1 and 2, and the projects. So that's all described in the textbook. The projects are detailed. I just selected which projects I wanted them to do from that chapter, but they're already detailed and full instructions are there. For example, we have chapter 1 here, so they click on the chapter and then all the subchapters. Now note this same verbiage of 1.1, Education, Technology, and Teaching, maps directly back to this slide, Education, Technology, and Teaching. So this content comes directly from that part of the chapter. And then there's a quiz that goes along with it. And so there's lots of ways to interact with this chapter and with this content throughout the chapter, both in multimedia resources, video and interactive resources, as well as journaling embedded throughout the text, shared writing, and then self-checks throughout as well. So this, it chunks the information, which is a learning theory. Part of learning theory is to chunk these into smaller digestible bits throughout the content so that, and then tie those together to help them make meaning of their overall text. And that's what Pearson's done here, and they've done a good job again with core learning theory. So let me click on the chapter. This is 1.1. And describe education technology and its role in teaching and learning. So here's what the book looks like. Keywords, they can click on this and it gives them a definition of what that is if it's bold and underlined, which you are not going to get just in a printed text. They have embedded graphics and sources to go with those, so proper citation is modeled. And what they've done is a very good job of embedding these resources. Now, typically in the past, I would have to go and search for these graphics or images, etc., and then link out to them into a website. Again, that's disjointed for the student and it's distracting because they can go into many bird walks out on the internet while they do that. This eliminates that and keeps them focused on the content at hand, and then helps them summarize again in that chunked format. So moving along is, I haven't assigned it, so I have to assign it there within Pearson. And I can exclude questions if I want. So here's an example of their quiz. And again, I can also have these quizzes embedded or uploaded into Blackboard's test bank system via that link I showed you earlier. But look how great it is. It's also embedded in their text. So the definition of EdTech determines the approach of its study, which of the definition of educational technology. I'll pick that one. Oops, that's not it, but my mouse. Okay, so I can go through and then it gives me immediate feedback, which again with sound learning theory, we know that personalized learning and immediate feedback is core to sound instruction. Anyhow, so it walks me through and I can scroll through the textbook down here as well, and I can increase or decrease the font. The nice thing about this book is that it is fully ADA compliant, and with all that online learning, it has all the meta tags and the things that make us compliant with sound online learning and make sure we're following all those federal laws. The other nice thing about this text that you won't get from a printed textbook is I can say, so say I read this and I think this is one of the most important things on this page. If you learn nothing else from this chapter, please learn this. So I highlight it, I can change the color. If it's, and I can color code. The green is the most critical, important items. Don't move on until you absolutely mastered that. And then the pink is, yeah, it's important. Or here's key vocabulary, pay attention to that. And this is cultural-based information is in pink. Anyhow, we can have color codes for all that. Or I can also add a note. All pink highlighted items are about culture. And then I save it. Oops, let me do one more. So I save it, and then they get that note. I can also add a note, and then I share down here. That's where the magic happens, because anything I note here and that highlight gets pushed out to all my students that have this book and are enrolled in my class. So that is one-to-one learning and personalized learning in a way that we've never been able to do before, at least I've never seen before. And again, this is the first time this book has been published in this Rebel format. Pearson has made very few titles. They're kind of testing the Rebel right now, and so it's kind of in pilot mode. And again, I just got extremely lucky that the very content that I need to teach this semester was one of the first that they chose to put in this Rebel format with everything embedded. So going back is, so they have that for each chapter aligned to the PowerPoint and the quizzes that are embedded throughout. Again, we can do shared writing exercises where they see each other's content. And after you post, your responses can be viewed by your class instructor and you can participate in the class discussion, etc. So there's that. Now, what is also nice, and so we're going to do 2 of these chapters a week, and then moving down, glossary is important. Language is typically, if you can understand the vocabulary, the rest of the content is comprehensible. So they have all these great terms here, and in technology, it is like a foreign language for many people. So this glossary is actually really important, which is also nice in combination with the search feature. So if I don't know what animation software is, or I want to know where else that appears in the rest of my text, or maybe I'm in the text and that word comes up, I can just type in animation software and it automatically pulls up a definition of 3D animation software that enables the creation of animation. So again, on demand, personalized learning, it doesn't get any better than this according to the learning theorists. So going back, and some of the other key things about this text are references and suggested reading. This is a treasure trove of information about technology, learning technologies. If I was going to do say my thesis project or paper on learning technologies, what I would do is go right back to this textbook and go to these references and suggested resources. And this could be, partial or full literature review for a learning technologies final paper for whatever degree. It is really an incredible compendium of education technology, sound resources going all the way back, resources going back 30, let's see, 74 is the earliest I've seen, 66, Bruner, who is absolutely one of my favorite theorists on the planet, is included in there. They've done a fabulous job. They even talk about CAPE accreditation standards, which of course is our reviewers for our EIL program and teacher ed programs at Southeastern. So it's extremely sound theoretically and practically. Then the last thing of this text that the students will get is the video and interactive resources. Now, embedded throughout each of the chapters are these extra content items, interactive items. Consider this, which is kind of a self-check thing, and then also a video example. So we typically in the past, I would find a YouTube video or a video on a like ISTE website or whatever that mapped onto the content that I was teaching. Now, what they've done is they have embedded those right in the textbook for me. So again, one-stop shopping, less disjointing for the students, highly rigorous content while diminishing that extra effort and cognitive load of having to click there, go there, that they've taken care of. And these are highly rigorous, well thought of resources. And so I'm going to play a little bit of the video. Now we can pop this out as well.
Today, having a real-time relevance to children. One of the real exciting developments is that I think that every student, 3rd through 12th grade, and really K through
this one so they can see it in real time.
It's really a sense of what we do in school today, having a real-time relevance to children. One of the real exciting developments is that I think that every student, 3rd through 12th grade, and really K through 12th.
So closed captioning, I can turn that on for English. And
but 3rd through 12, where
that then pops up for our
they have this
ADA
new
compliance.
sense of mission when they come to.
And then I can work on the settings if they are on a slower bandwidth, and if they're on a mobile device, etc. We can, if they want the transcript, now that's critical again for the ADA. And this is an incredible resource. And I believe anybody who understands accreditation for online programs and the SARA compliance and all of that know how critical this is. And when I click on the transcript, it takes me directly to that part in the video. Again, personalized on-demand learning does not get any better. I give a lot of respect to Pearson for making this happen. And again, we can pop just this video out and make it the full screen. Okay, control the sound there, etc. Now these types of videos are embedded through the text, and they also have consider this questions. So these are the consider this. So their follow-up to their guiding questions, guiding reflective items about what the students just learned, kind of helping to clue them in of here's the 3 most important things of that video. A, what other professionals do this ISTE standards address, right? So A, we know that's important. In that whole video, look for these 3 things. What are P21 4Cs? And so those are critical to education technologies, and any education technologists know what those are. And they've been around a long time. I think they were launched back when I first started in early 2000. Or just before that, around that time. Anyhow, critical to technology, and it clues folks into what's important in that video. And again, those are embedded throughout the different chapters, as you can see. This is a one-stop shopping for all those video resources, but again, back to chapter 1, you would see that right in the middle of the text where it's applicable. Here's also a flash review of just the key terms, so it's all there. Kind of flashcards of the common or key vocabulary. Cultural bias is huge, website hosting, etc. to give them the content. And here's another video example, flash review, journal, etc. And it goes throughout the course, did chapter 8, chapter 10, etc. Okay, back to the content. So I do want you to see in context what those videos look like. So let's see, I think that was in chapter 1.2. Bear with me while I scroll through to hopefully get to that video quickly. And all of the content here is solid, again, from a learning technologies perspective. This is the P21. I actually did several papers on this during my doctorate program, and correlated resources that I can share with the students if I feel it would be beneficial. I'll have to gauge the students at the time. Trying to get to the video. Here's another figure, and they review CAPE and ISTE and Common Core and how all those fit together. And then there's a quiz. And this is what their quizzes look like with reference to technology standards, which of the statements is not correct. Okay, probably that one. So submit. Oops. I'm choosing quickly, so sorry, and I'm not really reading. So we can keep trying. Say I'm a student that's not really reading. And then we're correct. Anyhow, it tells me how many attempts that they did, and it goes into, I get a report of that. So that is all. P21, focus on preparation. Anyhow, so it gives them, so all these three are right, and that's excellent learning for them as well. Okay, so that's embedded, and I think that's all the key. Now going back to my Blackboard, again, all of that is described here. The students know their assignments, and all the content is embedded in their textbook, e-textbook, with supplement from the PowerPoint. Now, I will make sure that the students get access to this. And I will include it as much as possible. I just need to double, triple verify that I'm not breaking any copyright. Because again, this is the first time I've worked with this sort of text. But this is key summarization of that entire chapter. So anyhow, one per chapter. I haven't uploaded them yet because of the issues with the Blackboard. So now that's all the coursework. Going back to the foundations of this course, I also have the start here. So the first week, the students are going to start here. And here is my syllabus. The syllabus is the template that we agreed to as a Southeastern faculty, Southeastern EIL faculty, might I add. And here is that template. So all my contact information, this is all pretty standard. And again, much of this is replicated in more detail in my Blackboard. So Meet the Professor, I have an introductory video. Getting started, I wanted to make sure that everything in the course was set prior to me creating that narration video, because I want to make sure that it's accurate of what I'm describing when I publish the video. And as I receive feedback, I can move things around. Grades, expectations, policies, procedures, teacher ed candidates, blah, 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 minimum tech skills, required materials, prereqs, quick information links, all of that is there. And then announcements. I have a pre-formatted announcement. Welcome to this course. Please make sure you start here at the Start Here button. And then they will see that narrated course video there as well. The coursework is underneath that. The discussion boards have been set up. So the student introductions is here. The course questions and answers are here. This is their kind of question parking lot where if they have concerns. And then the discussion board rubric. This is how their discussion boards will be graded, etc., in addition to the ones that are embedded in their text. So everything else is standard. Virtual meetings we'll be doing. I do a lot of those and historically have and recorded those and made those available. And I'm trusting that Zoom will be the format or product that we'll be using to create that. Okay, and that in a nutshell is my course. I am sure that it's quite different than what other folks are doing, only because this is technology, and technology adapts and changes, and I typically have always been on the cutting edge of things, whether I've liked it or not. So I think this is, in my humble opinion, what is best for the students and what is needed for this area and abroad. And I think this course is an incredible marketing opportunity, storytelling opportunity about the wonderful things that are happening at Southeastern, and perhaps may be used as a model in the future of the interactive type of content that Southeastern can and will provide. I look forward to your feedback and questions. Thank you.